In this video, I want to go over the rumors of a huge PlayStation 5 game being revealed very soon of a pretty notable franchise in Resident Evil. Resident Evil 8 is a cross-gen game, and a reveal could be coming very soon if the rumors are to be believed. An awesome strategy RPG has been revealed for the PlayStation 4. That is Banner of Maid. It's a game that is out on PC. A lot of you guys probably don't know about it, but it's a pretty cool little game, so I'll go over that as well. And Outriders, still on track for next-gen holiday 2020 launch. New info to be shared monthly from here on out. We'll go over that at the end of this video. Even though Outriders is a game that doesn't have the best reception in the world, People Can Fly is a studio that I really like, and it's a brand new IP coming from Square Enix, so I do think it's worth giving it a little bit of a mention, but again, more on that in a little bit. Resident Evil 8 is a cross-gen game, and reveal is coming soon if a rumor is to be believed. The Resident Evil franchise has been one of the more successful franchises over the last few years. 2017's Resident Evil 7, 2019's Resident Evil 2, and then 2020's Resident Evil 3, even though Resident Evil 3 not received as strongly as the other two titles, still received pretty well critically, and commercially it has done very, very well. Well, Twitter user Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dusk Golem, who has talked a lot about Resident Evil and frequently details upcoming horror releases, has claimed that the game was originally intended to be announced at E3 this year, that being Resident Evil 8, and that was scheduled from June 9th and June 11th. The Twitter user added that it will be a cross-generation release, and he expects the announcement this month, if not by the end of August. This information aligns with other Resident Evil 8 rumors that suggest the title will be announced in an official capacity on June 10th. This secondary rumor has spawned from an announcement made to the Resident Evil Ambassadors program that suggested a reveal of some kind on June 10th, which would have been an E3 2020 date, as noted on GameRant.com. A lot of rumors about Resident Evil 8 are circulating online. My personal opinion, Resident Evil, I don't know if Capcom's spreading it a little bit too thin at this point. Look, I loved all of the Resident Evil games over the last few years. Resident Evil 7 I thought was fantastic, and by the way, it's like south of $10 right now as a part of the Days of Play sale. If you didn't play that yet, do play it, because a lot of attention is on Resident Evil 2, which was amazing. That was one of the best remakes that I've ever played, and it did Resident Evil 2 justice. Resident Evil 3, there was a significant amount of cut content, which was unfortunate. Overall, I still thought the game was relatively enjoyable, but definitely not a game you should be spending $60 for, especially considering it's relatively short and the Resistance online multiplayer. Nothing to really write home about as far as that's concerned. That's a game that if you find it for south of $30, it's a good buy then, but it was still an enjoyable game, all things considered. Resident Evil 8, on the other hand, I believe the game has been in development for quite a while. They have a bunch of different studios working on these games, but from a Capcom standpoint, it really seems like they are trying to put out Resident Evil games yearly, which I don't really know how to feel about that. Obviously, the games are selling really, really well, but we already know that the rumor is Resident Evil 4 is going to see a remake in 2021, Resident Evil 8 in 2020. That would mean 4 straight years we've gotten a Resident Evil game every year. The only break was 2018, and maybe in 2018 they released some Resident Evil remasters or something of that nature, but they are really, I don't want to say milking the franchise, but let's be real, if any other franchise was going this route, people would be saying it's milking. However, is it wrong to milk a franchise if all of the games are really good? Now, I don't want the games to end up all being like Resident Evil 3. That was a little bit of a misstep. Again, I enjoyed the game, but 7 and the 2 remake were at such an elite level that I want more games at that quality level, even if you're going to be doing them yearly. I think Resident Evil 8 is going to be a premier Resident Evil title, and they're going to put all the attention on that game, of course. And they have a foundation they can build off of from Resident Evil 7 because that game was really good. The Resident Evil 4 remake, inherently, I'm going to be really excited for that because Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game in the franchise outside of the 2 remake. And if they remake 4 at the level of the 2 remake, okay, that's probably going to end up being my favorite Resident Evil game. At that point, though, you also have to consider the fact, where does the Resident Evil franchise go from there? Because now you've done a bunch of remakes. Resident Evil 8 is out. Yeah, you can work on Resident Evil 9, but where do you go in terms of interspersing these releases? Because I do think they want to continue to do yearly Resident Evil releases. Well, there's a lot of other titles and avenues they can go to. Look, they can continue Resident Evil Revelations, they can do spin-off games, they can remake Code Veronica. There is a lot of layers, and there are a lot of layers to Resident Evil as a franchise where they can make games seemingly endlessly. However, it just comes down to how good are those games going to be, and they do have to be good if you're going to stick to that yearly release pattern. Ideally, with franchises, I'd like to see a release every other year. But if they do want to do yearly releases, given the sales numbers, I can understand why they're going that way. But there might be a little bit of a spreading the franchise too thin. That might be something that people talk about, because I've already been seeing that sentiment thrown out that if 2021 or has another Resident Evil game, they're milking the franchise. But at the end of the day, if the games are good, they're good. and they're all a little bit unique in their own regard. Alright, moving on from that, strategy RPG Banner of the Maid is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch in 2020. Azure Flame Studio develops strategy RPG coming soon for consoles. Now, this game has been out on PC since May of 2019, and then it got a Western market release in February of 2020, so it came out with a, I believe, Chinese release initially, and then it was translated. The game itself has an awesome visual style, and gameplay-wise, it's a strategy role-playing game set in an alternate French Revolution with fantasy elements. Thanks to its deep and challenging gameplay, its complex story full of rich characters and epic moments, and its outstanding anime art style, it's been widely applauded as one of the best games in the genre of the year, with an approval rate of 89% on Steam. You play as the young officer Pauline Bonaparte, leading your troops to victory in turn-based dynamic battles, but also taking part in the complex political landscape of Paris, full of intrigues and conspiracies. But Pauline is more than just a brilliant officer, she is also a maid, one of the fabled women with mysterious powers capable of turning the tide of a battle. A deep, epic story full of twists, glory, and fantasy, where the destiny of the revolution lays in your hands. In Banner of the Maid, you will command the most iconic troops from the Revolution era in deep turn-based strategy combats with dynamic environments, more than 30 different terrains, including cities, plains, snowy mountains, with environmental challenges like snow or fog, which will force you to constantly be on your toes, adapting your strategy to every situation. Your general is over 30 fascinating characters, including historical figures like Desaix, Murat, and Lannis, among others, will all have different backgrounds and skills that can be trained and improved with experience, but you will have to talk to them to discover their stories, gain their trust, and understand their hearts if you want them to reach their true potential. You will also take part in challenges and quests to gain political favor, funds to improve your weapon and supplies, but be careful, for your actions may tip the balance of the power in Paris. So as far as gameplay and the story, it seems to be quite a bit of depth to it. Key features of the game note: live an epic story of war and politics in an alternate French Revolution, fight iconic turn-based battles in more than 30 different dynamic environments, take part of the political vortex of Paris in a thrilling history of intrigues and glory, complete quests and challenges, establish political connections, gain funds and secure supplies, train your generals to improve their abilities. More than 30 characters with different backgrounds and skills are available for you to command and take to your allies with their trust, and understand their hearts, and you'll be able to be unstoppable in battle. Again, visually, the game looks great. Definitely gives me some vibes of a game like Fire Emblem, and we don't have that on PlayStation, so definitely going to be a title to keep your eyes on. And the reception has been very strong on PC. Again, an 89% approval rate and $19.99 price point. Actually, $16.99. I believe it was $19.99 earlier. Maybe got a little bit of a discount. $16.99 for the game on PC. I would imagine that the PlayStation 4 release would be a little bit more expensive, just because $16.99 is a price point that a lot of games don't release at. Nevertheless, do think that's definitely going to be one to keep your eyes on. And lastly, Outriders, still on track for a next-gen holiday 2020 launch. New info to be shared monthly from here on out. Now, this is a game coming from People Can Fly, the guys that also put out Bulletstorm, and I know that the game has seen a pretty mixed reception, and maybe even leaning to the negative side of things. However, it is done by People Can Fly. It's a brand new IP from Square Enix, and I really hope for the best of the situation when it comes to this game. People Can Fly's creative director Bartek Kimetas had to say about the new show: obviously, things are a little bit strange in the world right now, and we're all adapting the best we can. We've prioritized our people's safety, and all 250 plus of us on the team are working from home and staying healthy. We're still working hard on the development of Outriders and keeping a track for a holiday 2020 release. With the cancellation of the gaming's biggest events of the year, we've looked forward to new ways to share news about Outriders with players. We're really excited to present new details of what we're working on every month from this point forward with the Outriders broadcast. It was noted Outriders Broadcast 1 title built for the core features brand new gameplay, new areas, never before seen power character class, deep dives, development updates straight from the team, and more. So Outriders, again, a game that I don't really know what to make of it. Am I expecting this game is going to be a stellar release? It's going to get, marquee awards and it's going to be a commercial hit? No, not necessarily, but not all games have to be at that tier level to be a success. Sometimes you can just break even, you can make a profit, and you can be happy with that. I mean, THQ Nordic is pretty well known for that. Darksiders 3, not the best received game critically in the world, but it sold enough copies where they broke even, they released some DLC, and that game did well, and they'll probably do more Darksiders games. Outriders can fill that void as well, and I do believe we need more quality shooters on the market. market. Outriders is one that I'm still not completely sold on, but hey, seeing more footage of the game, maybe that can turn the tide a little bit. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, as far as Resident Evil 8 is concerned, a reveal is probably coming very soon. It looks to be a cross-generational title, and Static Gamer is usually on point when it comes to the Resident Evil news. He was pretty on point with RE3. Resident Evil 8 probably gonna be happening, and probably a reveal coming very soon. Strategy RPG Banner of the Maid coming to PS4 in 2020, and Outriders still on track for a next-gen holiday 2020 release. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.